moving on to our top 3 teams, we have Lit, and we have photos. Woo! Photos! We know who we're talking about. Um, so Lit or Long Island Iced Tea were predicted 5th, finished in 3rd, so they beat their predictions by 2. Biggest positive mover of the tournament so far, I think. On the team we have Ace, Skinny, Arrow, My Suit is My S, and Rudy. Stats of note: Ace had the 3rd highest tag ratio and was 3rd on the solo ladder for GRC as well. Who wants to talk about Lit? Shoddy not.
I mean, I can if no one else is. Yeah, so I guess I'll talk our first top 3 team. These guys, yeah, like they're a complete team, right? Like Ace, Skinny always play. They've been coming forever. It's awesome to have Guinea here every year. Same with Arrow. She's always at invites. I think she's always on this team or mostly on this team. A big, rising star Grudy as well, and then My Suit is My S. Just one of those solid, reliable players. So it was awesome to see them get their cohesion going, get their game plan like sort of sussed and just smash it. Definitely, like I predicted them a little lower. I think some people predicted. I think it's not a surprise to see them in finals. Let's say that. Probably standout one for me is Guinea. Like he was. I mean, he's always a scary guy, but I don't know. This year he seemed better. So maybe they've been training hard and wherever. I'm not too sure. And of course, Grudy, like rising star, right? All of our EU players are doing really well.
Yeah, cool. So Guinea's your stand-up player of the team. Did you have any maybe like some advice or some things, notes of improvement for like the newer players?
I mean, I didn't. Nothing specific. I don't think. Like they just need to play more, right?
Yeah, that do be the case sometimes, huh? I guess of note as well. Guinea and Ace got 3rd in doubles. Then they got 1st in triples with Arcane. So that was definitely a good innings in the side.
They had a tag team result as well, didn't they?
Yeah, they got 3rd in tag team as well. So.
So that's four trophies each, right?
Yeah, bloody good effort, I reckon. Sega and Trader, you got any bits to add to Long Island Iced Tea?
I mean, it's kind of hard to say. Like, Ace and Guinea, at least when they're together, like I'm pretty sure they've trophied every single side events that they've played together, right? Popeyes, like in the history of invites.
I mean, the history's, maybe they've stuffed up doubles or something at some point, but potentially true, yeah.
But yeah, so they've got a lot of that sort of core experience from invites because they have played together quite that much more than all the other players. So it's definitely not against the grain that these people wouldn't be up here around this mark. And yeah, Greedy, at least, he's taken this experience and just ran with it. He's come back like a completely different player, almost, I would say. Just seeing how he moves now, how he plays, he's picked up so much good tidbits from this team. And that's something that you always like to see from these E-players jumping onto these teams like this, that they're able to learn and get that vital experience to become better players. So yeah, it's glad to see that he's come back from this competition, like taking a lot of the stuff on with that right mental, that right drive to actually become a better player. And it's really cool to see what he can do in the future, at least.
Yeah, Sega, you got anything to add for Long Island Iced Tea?
Look, I think I'm gonna jump on the Grudy bandwagon here. To be honest, Holmes. He, every time I refed a game or watched them play, he, I believe, was usually in the last line or anchor position, and he had good positioning. Responded well to comms, and yeah, like I kind of came out of this comp and was looking at the ranks of some of these players, and I'm like, there's no way this kid's an E. So, yeah, he was playing really well. And another standout for me was Arrow. I just remember watching them play, and yeah, I was very impressed. Obviously, Ace and Guinea. I remember looking at the double shields and just seeing Ace Guinea, Ace Guinea, Ace Guinea. So, yeah. So like these guys know how to play together, and I think I've been saying this all night, but some of these teams were very well rounded, and yeah, this team was able to go the distance. So yeah, props to them.
Nice. Any final tidbits for this team, guys, before we move on?
Big props to them for coming second in the team's events. Very hard comp, and see them do well at least, Very nice and well deserved.
Good effort, Sega. You were going to say something?
The only thing that I sort of had in my notes was that I'm kind of contradicting myself a little bit here by saying that Gritty responded well to comms, but the thing was, I don't know if it was just their team's play style, but that I did notice that there were a lot of like holes in the comms. So if they could have brought that up, I reckon they would have done a lot better.
All right. So, well, yeah. Note to Long Island Iced Tea. Maybe something you can take away from the tournament is sharpening up those comms. Especially if any of these players are wanting to go to Hobart, where the last line position, and obviously, which is very reliant on comms, is really important in Hobart. So if you want to do well in Hobart, you got to have bloody crisp comms, I reckon. So on that note, are any of these players, obviously, are any of these players going to Nats? Like, is Ace, is he on Cobras this year?
Ace is on Cobras, and I'm assuming Guinea's going.
Yeah, I assume Guinea's playing the one up.
Are Arrow, my students, Mayas or Garidi, going to be making an appearance at Nationals, or
at least not this year?
Not this year. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Arrow played in Albury, right?
I think she's been to a couple.
Yeah,
Arrow's been around for a long time as well.
Yeah. Well, won't get to meet these players, the newer players, this year, but I look forward to meeting them at some point in the future. Very nicely done, Long Island Nice team. Move on to second place. Tragedy of Hamlet. Predicted first, came second. So down on their predictions by one, we have Hatman, Guerrero, Cheru, Rogue, and Troggy. Who wants to talk about Tragedy of Hamlet?
Yeah, I can. So yeah, like this is like the super home team, right? These guys are training 3 times a week at least. All of them, well, 4 out of 5 of them. Troggy not so much. But yeah, like it's showed like they all played remarkably well for their grade, right? Hatman, like obviously a good captain. He's really good at mixed teams as well. There's just like, there's that slightly different skill set you need for playing in a mixed comp. You kind of have to dominate, but you also have to keep your team in line and do this and that, right? So yeah, like these guys were super well oiled, super well like prepared. Probably the big ones for them would be if they could have dragged Troggy to a few more trainings, and then just like honestly just in finals it was probably just 1 or 2 decisions, or even just maybe they win a spawn at a critical time and it's a base, right, and you add 2 or 3 of those up and it could change the whole thing. So a near flawless comp from them, right?
That's the thing about this game, right? Like so often the difference between winning and not winning can be 1 tag, 1 base, one decision.
You can't always exactly. Like if we played the comp again right after, they could have won the whole thing, right? Like it's just sometimes it's just like that.
Sega and before we move on to the other guys, Popeyes, who was your standout player of this team?
Oh, it's got to be Cody Guerrero, for sure, like no doubt. But all of these guys, I reckon, like this is kind of the key of this team is like they're all standout players. Also, huge props for Troggy. He's our stream guy. So all the media and stuff you see, he's the one putting all that together. So it makes us look good every year. It's good to have him.
For your service. Sega and Trader, what have you got to add for Tragedy of Hamlet?
This was a team that you could tell has been training in this maze for quite a while. They had the strats. It was almost like clockwork seeing them play in games, to be honest. And at least Hatman runs a lot of his teams like a well-oiled ship a lot of the time when you see in past invites. So it was no surprise to see him doing the same this year with how they are playing. A very well-deserved trophy for them.
Sega, what do you got to
add? Look, I came out of this comp and yeah, I could have sworn that Guerrero has been playing for years and upon years. He was just outpaneling, outpacking, outbasing quite a lot of people, and yeah, look, I think you'll be quite surprised when going up against them in future competitions, to be honest. Cheru and Rogue, they just Rogue in particular, I just remember them being fast, agile, and every time you wanted to take red base from pocket, you just had to hope and pray that she wasn't hiding to get the reflect on you, because she was always there and she'd get it like probably 95% of the time. So
Who doesn't love a cheeky reflect, huh? Me. The answer's me. I hate reflex. But...
Yeah.
Shiro and Rogue were a force to be reckoned with on the defense. An absolute menace to try and deal with taking their base.
So Guerrero has been highlighted a few times. They were a D rank player. Do we know if Guerrero moved up a rank?
Yeah, he's up to C.
Yep.
C. Cool. Well done to Guerrero. Well done to Tragedy of Hamlet. Any last bits before we move on to our first place team and wrap the show up?
I mean, 4 out of 5 of these guys will be at Nats.
Sick. Who won't be? Trogy?
Just Troggy, yeah. So Hatman on Cobras, and then the other 3 are rounding out Cat's team with rounding out Dysfunctional with Cat and Foros.
Okay, cool.
A little bit of useless stats information here for you, Holmes, but Cheru, Guerrero, Hatman, and Rogue all finished within the top 20 for highest GRC as well. So
Yeah, right. They're sharing the load, huh?
yes, very much.
Yeah, that's awesome. No, it's cool. You know, you got teams that do really well, and then you go, oh, that player was the reason that they are up where they are. But I think it's really cool to see the teams that are able to reach the same heights, but like the kind of the stardom and the responsibility of like getting there is kind of like, you can see it spread out more evenly throughout the team, and that's like reflected in their stats as well. So that's really cool to see. Yeah, thank you for that little bit of stats. Alrighty, we'll move on to our first place team. Hobart Swipers. They had the biggest climb in terms of their predictions, and they were the biggest mover of the tournament outside of Space Group. So predicted 6th, finished in 1st place. I'd like to point out that I predicted them in 1st place. So I got quite a lot of good old prediction points from that one. But anyway, on the team we have Runt, Jellyhawk, Karen, Shuri Kitty, and Tiger. Yeah, notable stats. Who's surprised? Runt walked away with the highest average score, highest score ratio, 2nd highest tag ratio, and finished the comp on top of the solo ladder. Yeah, Sega, I'll let you take the Hobart guys away.
Yeah, look, I don't even know how to start with these guys. I will say this is Brendan's ideal dream team. So he wanted to play with these guys as soon as Invites was announced, and there is a reason why, and that is purely because he knew that he could do well with them. Tiger was very much undergraded as an E player. I believe he's been shifted to a C since. But yeah, look, the team was this is Brennan's sort of like dream team. If I'm pretty sure if Vikings wasn't a thing, this is probably the replacement, like development team, if he could make it happen.
What can you tell us about how Hobart Swipers played, Sega?
Look, we leading up to the comp, we sort of try to break into our invites teams and just seeing these guys play. It is a well-oiled machine. Brennan just his in-game knowledge and his mentorship to the rest of the team is just huge. Like you'd be seeing them in between training sessions, and Brendan would be showing them certain holds or certain ways to like do flip shots and things like that, and the team really benefited from it. And yeah, like that's realistically everyone had their place to play, and it just fits so well. And that's I reckon you could have asked any Hobart player before this comp even started, and they would have said, you guys got Swipers and Devils mixed up, because Swipers are probably going to take this out.
Who was your stand-up player of the team, Sega? Obviously, Runt would be the obvious pick, but have you got a different one?
Look, not going for the obvious pick. I'd probably have to put it down. I'd have to either say Jelly or look, Jelly, Shurikitty, and Tiger are probably my the three. I'd probably just have to say Jelly, purely because he's just like this absolute like beautiful mind when it comes to timing, and to see that sort of come over from H2 to H Pro, it was insane to see. And just watching him on play anchor, he was just holding really well, not giving you anything to shoot, which is probably some H2 discipline there. Yeah, and yeah, I just have to say he played very well.
Yeah, cool. Obviously it might be hard because they bloody went and won the whole thing. Do you have any were there any things that were obvious about this team that they could like potentially improve on? Obviously, going into Pre-Nats 3 for Hobart and Nationals, this team isn't going to be a thing, but for maybe on an individual basis?
This is probably one of the hardest things that, like, unless I was nitpicking, I wouldn't know what to say. The guys would go in, and if something went wrong in game, they'd come out, they'd nut it out, and they'd say, hey, we need to fix this, and then next game they'd go and do exactly that, and then they'd find something else, and then they'd come out and fix it straight up. And Brennan actually mentioned that in one of their team chats that I sneakily overheard was, guys, I can't ask more of you. Every time I'm asking you to fix something, you're doing it straight away.
Every days, and that's kind of, I think, the most important skill set on a team for any team is the ability to come out of games, not only games where like you lost and the mistakes are maybe like obvious, but maybe the games where you won and not being content with, oh, we won, let's like oh, that was a really cool base you got, oh yeah, like I popped off, actually like always actively seeking what's the 1% improvement we can make from this game to next game. I think it's the single most important skill set as a team. I think. If what you're saying's based on what you're saying, it shows, huh?
Yeah.
Popeyes and Trader, have you got any things to add for Hobart Swipers? Maybe your standout player and things you noticed about them.
I'll just say that, yeah, Sega was saying exactly what Runt said was going to happen during the pre-invite stream, where they would take what was happening in games and actually improve upon them. And seeing it live, it was basically like, seeing robots just sort of update themselves as
Updating
after each
software.
game. You see the patch notes for each game,
Yeah.
But yeah, also would like piggyback on Sega about the stand-up player. Yeah, I was reffing the finals and seeing Jelly playing in the last line, like as an anchor, was really amazing to see. It was almost like, I don't know how to describe it really. It was just something to see. Like, he was moving so gracefully and still unable to be shot from any position that he was taking outside or like under, actually. He just knew where to be whenever, and it was all thanks to just amazing comms that they were getting on that defense. But yeah, really, really well-deserved first place from this team. Big props to them.
Good. Popeyes, what have you got to add, Matt?
Yeah, I mean, similar to the other Hobart team, they felt like, they actually felt like a team that we're playing against. Obviously, they rocked up with the team shirts, right? We only, I think this year we had 3 teams with team shirts. So
That's when
hopefully,
you know their business.
in the future we'll have every team, right? It'll be like Nats. But yeah, like it was super clear that they've been training together. Runt obviously, huge captain. He's played a ton of worlds as well. Went to Sweden, and like I've played with him a bunch of time in various state comps and Oz pre-COVID on world settings. So he's got the experience. Probably my advice to everyone on this team, like they've all had experience now being like a top tier team, at least in this comp, right? And so you can take that going forward to any team you're playing on to know like these are the habits of a successful team, right? So making sure you are doing that debrief after your games, like you said, even if you won, all that sort of stuff. Like once you sort of have got a taste of that recipe for success, you can sort of keep that going, right? So yeah, huge props to Hobart for bringing 2 full teams over, doing so well, and yeah, like hopefully it's good for their scene as well. It was definitely good for our scene having them over.
Happy days. In terms of where we're going to see these guys in the future, correct me if I'm wrong, Sega, but Runt and Karen are going to be on Vikings, and then Tiger, Shuri, Kitty, and Jelly Hawk are all on Archangels. Am I right about that?
So Tiger is on Cerberus, and Jelly and Shurikitty are both on Archangels. So
Yeah, cool. Well, keep your eyes peeled, everyone, on the Prenets 3 stream in less than 3 weeks, and at Nationals as well for these players. It's cool to see. Sometimes at tournaments you just see the same names at the top over and over and over again, and it's like, okay, this is cool. But it's really cool that we're starting to see new names really breaking into like the finals and trophying and stuff. It's very refreshing. So yeah, big congratulations to Hobart Swipers for pulling away with the dub, victory royale. Looking forward to seeing you all competing in your home arena on your home system. Can't wait. That's gonna be fun. Cool. Well, that actually wraps up the review of the teams. We'll do a quick little look at the whatchamacallit, our predictions, our prediction little game that we do, just to round off. So allow me to stream another screen. Bear with me. I don't know what I've done. I think I buggered it again. prediction accuracy share. There
Oh,
we go.
maybe.
Happy days. Jeez, what can I zoom in? That's a bit better. It doesn't fit everything. Whatever. We'll roll with it. Cool. So, just to wrap up with our little predictions game. So, on the left hand side, we have the final placements for everyone. And then in each of the columns, we've got myself, Popeye's Trader, the Annie's Analytics predictions, and then the average overall final official Laser Sports Academy predictions. Yeah. So I pulled away with the prediction W this time around, and I think a lot of that was the Hobart Swipers pick to win. That got me that served me very well to win this round. Otherwise, and then Annie's Analytics came in second, and then Popeye's Trader and the final predictions were all even in terms of like their obviously they had slightly different predictions, but their overall prediction accuracy was about the same. So just to quickly explain how it works again, it's like golf. So if you predict a team exactly where they ended up, then you get 0, and then every position you're off by that, it's 1, right? So the lowest score wins. Did anyone have any, I don't know, observations on the predictions or anything they'd like to add while I've got this up?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just point out that obviously, like, no one was that close, right? So, like, these are useful. Like, whenever we get Nats, for example, like, we'll always print out the predictions, especially if you're a newer team and you don't know any of the other teams, right? And you need to know, okay, who are we scared of, who's about our level, like, what's the approximate order and stuff. But,
Yeah.
like, you know, if you get, like, a 20th or whatever on Sync's list, like, or whatever we call it these days, you know, there's no need to be disheartened by that, right? You can easily come in 10 places higher than predicted,
sure.
right? But yeah, that's probably my only comment. Like, it's good that they all came out quite different as well, like different opinions going in, and then obviously different result coming out.
But only one of us was the most correct, Popeyes, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah. It's not a competition unless you're winning, you know.
You hadn't been fed as much misinformation as we had.
That's true. Maybe that's the case.
If you guessed at random, what would your score have been?
At
You'd
random,
get about like 6 for each, right? It'd be like 30 or something.
I
Just hypothetically, I mean, just like mathematically, if you'd random each, what would you average?
that is not a question for me. I am not a numbers guy.
Yeah.
This was a stretch for me. I didn't even come up with this. Runt actually came up with this. So,
Yeah, no, fair enough.
I'm not a numbers man. We'll leave that to the scholars, shall we? And the philosophers.